Hey, I thought I'd just quickly record a video for this free Blender add-on tool thingy I made. I mostly made it for myself because I needed to do all these kind of mechanisms that I needed to line up bones exactly to objects, to separate objects in my rigs. And for something like this, it just would have taken ages to line up those bones to each individual object here. And these were referencing objects animating along a path. But I needed to take this into Unreal Engine, so I needed to skin all this up and just get it into one armature and be able to drive this armature with child-of constraints to those. And because it's for a game engine, it's just kind of like the best way to get stuff into a game exactly, by just skinning the stuff up. But the core of the problem was just like I had so many bones I needed to create and then line up and try and line up the orientation of the bones in these, and it would have just been a very long process. So I thought I'll just make this tool for myself, because for this project, for this game project, we just got so many of these mechanisms that I do need to do similar kind of like rigs like this. So I decided to create it for myself and then make it available for free for you guys. We'll just quickly show you it in action, and then I'll just run through in a basic example how to use this tool. So let's go over here. So here I haven't actually created those bones yet. If you have my tool over here, basically I already filled in all the objects that need my bones to be lined up to and created on. So I created my little list there, also included like skinning, so it creates skinning for me as it creates these bones. So for this tool you need to have an armature, and you need to be in edit mode of the armature, but these are already set. So all I need to do is create my bones from the list. Okay, now if I go to pose mode, you'll see all these have been skinned at the same time as well. So basically with a couple of clicks, by just selecting all the objects, creating your list, and then with this one click it will create all these bones for you perfectly lined up. And then also create the 100% skinning for that particular part for you. So yeah, let me now show you a simple example of how to use the tool. So basically here I just have some boxes, just some separate boxes. I have an armature here. I'm already in edit mode, so it's important to be in edit mode. So first of all, you can just snap existing bones. So say I've got this existing bone over here. I want to snap it to that box. I just need to drag that box into here. You'll see this when it's empty. I just need to drag that box into there and I can snap it. I can snap it to any local axis that I want. So if I snap it now, it will snap to the different axes. So -X, snap it. So it will snap it onto there. But it wouldn't have created skinning. So if I go to pose mode, I move this around. It didn't create skinning because this was ticked off. But now if I go back to my edit mode, I have that selected. I click on skinning and then I just snap again. If I now go to pose mode, I move that around, it would have skinned that entire object and then to that bone. So for rigid skinning, this is a very quick time saver if you've got existing bones. But say you haven't got that bone already and you wanted to create the bones for you, I'm just going to basically select all the rest of these. I'm going to add them to my list. So I want to create bones for these. I'm going to keep skinning on. I just need to go back in here, go into edit mode. So it only works in edit mode. That's the only main thing to remember. And then if I create this, it will create one for each of these. And now if I go to pose mode, each of those would have been skimmed to the created bones. And then you can just go and do your hierarchy. So you can just basically go back to edit mode, select all these, select your parent, and if you parent, keep offset, go back into pose mode, because everything is parented to that root now. So you just have to manually go and do your parenting then afterwards. If you've got existing parenting, just edit mode, and it's around. So if you get existing parenting, it should still just all work. And if I snap it, your parenting stays in place. I also just wanted to show you how these will behave in a chain. So the length will be ignored in a chain. So just to show you what I mean. So say we got that first one over there, we put that in there, we're going to snap this one to that box, and we put this one in over here, and we're going to snap this to the second box. See, you can actually snap a chain this way. So if we put this in there and then snap this one and then put this one in here and snap this one, and let's snap with, is it the Y snap? No, it's going to be the X snap. Okay, so yeah, you can actually use this to actually snap a chain to specific objects. So there's no limits there. It's only your length is then obviously going to be adjusted by what it's snapped to in the chain. So I've also added this update, and it's this little button over here. It's called Skin Source to Active Bone, and this basically works in edit mode, or it also works in pose mode. But for this purpose, I'll just demonstrate it in pose mode. So basically, you can see at the moment those objects hasn't been skinned there. So this one here is cube 1. So I put this in there, and I select a bone, and I want to skin this object that's in the single source item slot to this bone. I just click this, and now it will be skinned. So the same with this one, the second cube over here. If I drag this in there and I skin to source, it will be skinned to that. So you can very quickly skin rigid objects to existing bones. So these are just existing bones. So let's go cube 3, drag it in there, select that bone, and whatever is selected and whatever is filled in there as your source or the object you want to skin, and just with one click you can skin items 100% in pose mode or in edit mode. So if I do cube 4 and I drag it in there, I select this in edit mode, I can also skin it in edit mode. So if I go to pose mode, that's been skinned as well. Okay, so just then a run through of some of your different options. So you can set the bone length. So this is basically this length. If you keep the existing length, if you've got an existing bone, it will keep the length of that bone if you got an already created bone. Here you can align to whatever axis you want. You can either align to the local axis, or you can align to the world axis as well. So if you got, like, say, this object over here, so bone number 5, and then I create a new bone for that one, you'll see it will line it up to the world axis. So if it was Z and I created the bone, it will do it to the world axis instead of lining it up to the local axis of the object. So this one just snaps. So snap active edit bone just snaps. This one creates a bone for you. This one creates a bone for everything in your list. And to populate your list, you basically select a bunch of stuff and you add it to your list. And then you can create bone for everything in your list. If skin source is on, it will skin those objects 100% to that bone that you got selected. And then this will also align the roll of your bone. So yeah, I think that's just about everything. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. If you do find this useful, and you do use it a lot, especially professionally, it'd be great if you can give me a little tip on Gumroad for this tool. Otherwise, if you can't afford it, it's fine, just grab it. And then have a look at my other tools as well on Gumroad. I'll put the link in the description. They are paid, but they much more advanced than this one, and they probably equally, if not more so useful. Cool. Okay. Cheers, man. Hey, bye-bye.